Hey, it's Mass again from BonkTable, doing more Amulet D20 lists, Twitch, pausing, in between break reviews of the various lists that are going to be played in Amulet D20. This list is from Kremenček. I don't know how to say your full name. You'll have to excuse me. But you are playing Spires and Solving Lineage. This is going to be using a Lineage Highborn as the Warlord. What's going to give them 3 free mutations. As you can see over on the right here, Cascading Generation, Command Pheromones, and Pheromantic Override are the 3 classics. And there it is, the big 6 stands of Avatara block. Who would have thunk it? Actually, kind of surprising. Terraform Surveyor is a restricted option for the Lineage Highborn. I did not know that. You learn something new every single day. Now, if I go to the Lineage Highborn, yep, it is actually available. That is sweet. So, this loadout with the 6 stands of Avatara, they got their free banner, they got that Flawless technique, so when they're inspired, they're going to get Flawless Strike. And with Cascading Generation to give, is it Aura of Death? I think it's Aura of Death on the unit, and the Command Pheromones, so that she goes up to Resolve 5, so, like, you're not going to do Resolve damage to this unit, it's going to be mostly on their Defense 4, Evasion 2, what is a really, really, really good stat line. Their only weakness is at their Wound 4, but they tend to go into what Skillin likes to call Cockroach mode, where they just won't die. Like D4, Resolve 5 and a billion will just keep them alive for way longer than they have any right to. And if you do have Cleave 2 or Smite, there it's going to go on their Evasion stat at 2. And if Kerm here rolls really well, they'll just keep living. And with 6 stands with support 2, there's going to be tons of damage coming back. They'll be inspiring to 4. Lineage Highborn has the same offensive capability as them as well, but more attacks. It's just all around a really good package. The Terraform Surveyor hanging out with them, giving -1 defense to whatever unit they're going to be fighting, or providing that for other things on the list is just going to be super helpful, as well as providing the 2d6, pick the highest charging, with the reroll from Unstoppable in the banner for the Avatar brick, is just a really good combination right into that package in that warband. On the left here, we're going to talk about the Lineage Prideborn. There's Attracting Pheromones that's going to be flank, so you can already tell that the Lineage Prideborn most likely going to be going into the unit of Leonian Avatara. I have, weirdly enough, seen people try and justify the Prideborn being put into Centaur Avatara, and then do a shoot then charge, just so that I believe it's the Hunter Killer's triggers for more impact damage, and I'm just you're losing out on the kit here. Charge clashing with Centaur Avatar is much better. Their high speed of movement 8 with their flurry on their attacks is just going to end up being more damage. Just let them charge clash. There is 2 units of Leonia Avatar. These are the size 2 Fluid Formation, Deadly Shot, AP2 shooty guys. Their only downside is that they are Barrage 3. They tend to get a really good quality of attacks, but they don't get a large enough quantity of attacks. So running 2 of them is the best bet. Hopefully, Firm here can get both of them onto one target and get that Deadly Shot and AP2 working for him to infect more damage. And then also triggering the Hunter Killer for the Centaur Avatar off of whatever Lineage Prideborn is in, whatever. I like that little band right there. The Centaur Avatar are actually surprisingly pretty durable. With their D3 the shield are 4 or 5 wounds. They kind of stick around a little longer than you really hope. And they have the melee capability to fight off anyone trying to jam them up. Because a great way to stop cavalry is just to march charge them so they're stuck in combat. However, the Centaur Avatar with the flurry allows them to kind of clear their way out and keep pushing forward. It's a nice thing for them. They are currently the only heavy in the list. Let's just scroll down a little bit. We do have, So them being the only heavy is a good choice. It's not overloading with too many heavies, what sometimes lists kind of fall into, and it just doesn't work out. I like that. The Prideborn with the Avatara and the Lineage Highborn with the other Avatara, they're coming on turn 2. Then we have a Ferromancer's Avatar projections. Where's them Brute Drones? Brute Drones are at the bottom. 4 stands. Maybe an overcommitment. Maybe it's just you got some points left over. And adding another stand of Brute Drones is fine, because you're kind of your wave 3 unit. So, your first wave goes in, they, trade. Second wave goes in, follows up, trades, and then Brute Drones with the Ferromancer and Avatar projections can kind of clean up with that. A fantastic cleanup. It does really well. We have 1 unit of Strix, Would have liked to see 2. Could have dropped the Onslaught clones, changed them into Strix. This might just be whatever Kerm here has to play, and that's why he only has 1 unit Strix. Or, after building the first unit, he said this is stupid and doesn't want to build a second unit. Totally agree with him. From what I've seen of building Strix, it's one of the worst kits in the game, and really awful to line up. But I always respect a player who puts in the work to build that unit, and I would probably just change Onslaught drones to more Strix. Onslaught drones themselves, they got Burnout, and Linebreaker, they're fine. The problem is with them is, there's just better things in the faction. Running more Strix will be helpful. The Onslaught drones can sit on a zone. However, you got the Brute drones that can sit on a zone. You got Abomination. You got the Terraphon Surveyor. They can also all sit on zones. You got Leonana Avatara that can sit on zones. There's still a ton of scoring. There's also a lot of turn 2 scoring. Leona Avatara can double march Fluid onto a zone pretty easily. The Avatar themselves can just run up on a zone. This list actually has surprisingly a lot of speed in it. So the Onslaught drones, this is probably going to be one of the last things you bring on. And to be honest, you're probably just using them as a zone scorer. Or maybe gets in the way. They're not really a gap filler or anything. They're kind of more something that you probably want to sacrifice. Then we get into the Abomination. It's been a while since I've seen an Abomination. It has changed from heavy to medium, what I believe is the correct choice, especially in our current meta. It's very quick. Running 20 inches up the table is going to get it onto zones and get it scoring, especially to middle zones on turn 2. That's some sneaky tech you can use to, if your opponent is heavily deployed to one side, you can just sprint an Abomination up 20 inches. What's going to be... Let's see here. Is it, if you have a 6 in the middle, most zones in the middle are 9 inches, so it's going to be about 19 and a half. You should have half an inch on lipping over a zone that you can score it, and having a 150 point unit contribute to that is perfectly reasonable and a-okay to score that zone. And then it can sit there and threat project. Its offensive output is kind of lacking. Clash 2 with Flurry, Cleave 1, 10 attacks, even though it's Terrifying 1, isn't the greatest. It is surprisingly Defense 3, Resolve 4. Maybe that's increased since the last time I've ever seen this thing played. It has no evasion, however, so it'll probably die very quickly because it is 10 wounds. But it does have that long threat range with its speed 10 that is usually going to hit something before it hits it. And once that happens, hopefully it does enough damage that it can either kill or cripple it to the point that it can fight through. Yeah, overall, I do like the list. I like where this is going. This is something similar I've seen played locally or from Carl from North America. This list also has some good tools in it with the Lineage Highborn and the Avatara, the Terraphon Surveyor, the Ferromancer also providing its buffs and also more -1 defense. I do like it. The -1 defense combined with the Lineage Avatara, every hit's basically going to be a kill because it's basically AP3 with deadly shots, so you're going to do a lot of damage right there. You just need to make sure you're getting a lot of hits. They're very mobile with Fluid Formation, so people got to watch out for that. Only recommended change I would ever actually make with this is change Onslaught drones to another unit of Strix. Find out where you can get 10 points from. Yeah, because you got 2,000. But I also think you could probably drop Brute Drone, one of the standard Brute Drones, change the Onslaughts to a Strix, maybe give another upgrade somewhere, go kind of that. It should be fine. But overall, I do like the list. This is probably a little bit older design from Spires, but it is using the new things like the Terraphon and the new and improved Avatara. So I think Kerm's going to do pretty decent. I don't think he's going to win, but I think he's going to probably, I don't know how many rounds this is, but if it's 6 rounds by the amount of players or 5 rounds, I could see him going 3-2, 3-3 kind of thing. I think he's going to do really well for himself. And with that, let's get to the next list.